They have been practicing a deception or the great deception, I'm not sure, outside of my house. I have pictures and videos. Just for the record, I would never hurt myself or anything like that. I don't know if I'm being dramatic with this. You guys will, I'm sure, let me know in the comments. Do use discernment, but there's definitely some strange threads here, and I think you guys should watch this. First and foremost, Jesus will not return as a baby. He will not. It is not possible. He returns with a large, bright flash of lightning from the east to the west. The whole world will see it. You also cannot pray to Mary. She cannot help you with anything. Only Jesus can. This is not Mary. The Catholic version of Mary is the harlot of Babylon. And I am not in any way, shape, or form disregarding Mary, the mother of Jesus, but they are not one and the same. They are two separate people or entities, whatever you want to call them. So for like a year now, I've been covering a lot of stuff on the harlot and like how to recognize who this is, because I mentioned I had a dream about Revelation 12 and like how it's actually her standing on the moon and stuff like that like a while ago. So I thoroughly believe that Revelation 12 is not Mary, it's not Israel, it's not the church, it's the mother of flesh giving birth to the Antichrist. When reading it, if you just do a plain reading and look at the language used, it's definitely not about Jesus, because if it was about Jesus, it would say Mary and Jesus, and it's very like stern, plain language. We've also linked many of her characters to calves, bulls, things like that. One of her 1,000 legion identities is Hathor, the Egyptian goddess. This is the goddess that the Israelites were making golden calves of. And when you look back, they turned to idols and made the calves and started worshiping them when Moses went up to the mountain. So in my opinion, what's going to trigger this 500th anniversary Marian apparition that should be coming soon, I think, use discernment, but I'm just telling you my like theory and my interpretations. Either this thing's going to show up in the sky and I have what I believe to be pictures and videos of them testing it, and then an immediate rapture, or I think the rapture will trigger this, because one of the Marian apparitions, I mean most of them, but one of the main ones is like Our Lady of Mercy or something, and she like makes intercession to God and like helps you get forgiveness. I think it's going to be a repeat of Exodus, because the rapture, everybody gets taken into Mount Sinai. When we go up to the mountain, the people left are going to turn to this, because I am willing to bet anything that she is going to say that she can make intercession and that like she could help you get in good standing with God and all of this stuff. So the Virgin of Guadalupe classic thing is the moon under her feet with like a baby Cupid holding her up, and it also seems to function as like devil horns for the baby. And again, please remember, I am not disrespecting Mary, the mother of Jesus. This just isn't her. This is a deception. So this is also exactly how all of the archetype for the moon goddesses function. They stand on the moon. So they've been mass manufacturing these bronze Our Lady of Guadalupe statues, and they're bragging that they're making them in the exact same like casting process as the Israelites were making the golden calves. I covered this in other videos, so I'm not going to go too deep in it, but just if anybody's wondering about like where this seems to be headed. Okay, stick with me. I know this is going to be a little bit all over the place, but I promise you this is wild. I just need to put some threads together to pull it all together. So this is the Pythia. She was the prophetess, I think that's how you say it, at the Oracle of Delphi, which was in Greece. And this was very, very blasphemous. She would sit on a tripod in the Temple of Apollo over a hole that emits toxic fumes and start prophesying. People would wait literal days to ask her questions, especially in times of distress, and you would have to make an offering for her. You also had to like drink this juice that she had, and so she would prophesy, and I guess that they were like supposedly super accurate, and there's a whole lot to this. It's a very strange story, but when you learn about it, there's multiple parts in the New Testament where they are clearly referencing this, because this was around for like thousands of years. And I believe that this setup is mocking like God's tabernacle setup. We talked about how like, I think it's like a horn shaped at the top of the firmament. I know that sounds crazy, but that's why people would burn incense and like send up prayers, because God was like receiving them in this way. So that's part of why this is so blasphemous. So I think a major part of this deception is when people get left behind, they will go to this Mary and ask questions and like make inquiries and ask her to intercede. And a lot of these Marian statues are on top of towers that look suspiciously similar to the Tower of Babel. So we were talking about the Simpsons movie and how the drones brought in a secret dome and how they would project things in the sky, and how the medicine woman showed up to talk to Homer once the dome was in the sky in the form of blue northern lights, which is incredibly similar to what happened when Solomon built his temple. The Queen of Sheba came to speak with him. And I showed you guys a couple times when you do the math for Solomon's temple, it comes out to a hexagonal dome, which is exactly what the golden dome is supposed to be. And if anybody knows about how our GOV works, once there's something like this in the news, it's already been done for years. So I saw this on the Schmasso website the other day and I thought, seems odd because we know they have to tell us the truth in some way so that they like fulfill their weird law or whatever. The caption said, you don't have to look through a telescope. You can let the telescope project the moon for you. So 2 days ago, an article comes out that says, how do you build a moon? The James Webb Space Telescope has just given us our best look. And then NASA fairly recently put out this picture. It's the little boy holding the moon, and it says, what if the sun and moon rose together? I talked about a little bit how I think like the harlot is like interchanged with the moon for some reason, and that like sun is like the counterfeit sun. And here's what I'm talking about, just so everybody knows what I'm trying to say. So I'm looking at the moon last night and I'm like, there's something really weird about the moon. Like I've seen it with like the beams of light like this before, but I could actually see it mounted. Yeah, I know that sounds absolutely insane, but I'm going to show you because I somehow managed to faintly get it on camera. I'm going to show you a couple different stills of it, but please stick around because what comes after this is crazy. Okay, so this was the moon. Do you guys see like the bracket around it? All I could think is the Truman Show when the star like falls down. Like, you guys see this, right? You could tell me if I'm crazy, but I really don't think that I am. See it? And the first thing that I noticed was the moon looked weird. Like, it looked like it was like I initially, my first thought went to the firmament, but then I remembered about the golden dome. It looked like it was like partially in the dome and like partially on the outside of the dome. Look at how clear the top part is there. Look at how obvious that bracket is. So really quick, this is a common image of like Marian apparitions, and the moon started doing that exact shape. So I'm like, what is going on? So remember, this is the moon. First, there's like a hand that was holding what looks to be some kind of stone. And this is not the first time that I've seen this. These play out like movies. I'm going to show you multiple of them. And then a foot steps in and it's like standing on like the opposite side of the moon. And then out of the moon comes what looks like a Marian apparition. I think going like this, it's hard to tell because they have like cloaking stuff over it, but you'll see, you could see it peeking through in some parts. And then a baby is dropped in her arms. I'm really hoping that you guys can see this because I can't not see it. There's the Mary or whoever the figure is. You could see like the head wrap and then see the baby she's holding. Here's another angle, but his head was like uncloaked in the other part. But now like the full image is cloaked. They practice these and they cloak them. I'm telling you, just wait. Here's another one where it's like partially uncloaked or like badly cloaked. And yes, cloaking technology has been around for like ever. Here's another one. And here she like pulled in the baby close. I wish that I could have caught what I saw with my eyes, but I'm honestly like pretty happy that I got these on camera. See, again, it's partially uncloaked. I know that you guys can see this. It can't just be me. I know some of them like I'm more detail oriented, but I know you guys have to see what I'm seeing. I'm going to show you some other things that I've seen them projecting and try to describe like what I saw because I can't put all of it into words yet. But look at this. You can tell that there's some kind of lattice. And I'm a sky watcher. I've taken pictures of the sky with my phone my entire life. They don't look like this. So this was over the summer and a lot of people were like giving me flack about it, but I looked up in the sky. It looked like a banana. This was the moon with two people holding onto it and some kind of like Xbox thing in the background. And then I've seen them do different like dramatics. Like this to me looks like the side profile of a woman with like curly hair and like a ponytail. And then the side profile of a man, I guess. This one, it's like a girl sitting facing away and she has long hair and it looks like maybe she's brushing it or something. And these play out like movies, you guys. Like they're not still images. These aren't like tricks of light. These play out like movies. Like they have plots. Like for instance, this one, I don't know if I was like accurately interpreting it, but what it looks like to me, like when I saw it in the sky and in this picture, it looks like a younger girl and there's like a wicked stepmother behind her, like trying to intimidate her or something. Like, I can't even emphasize enough to you guys, they play like movies. It's so weird. And then I realized that we literally have the hexagonal whatever they are above us, exactly like in Chicken Little. Like, I didn't adjust this isn't any type of filter, this is just my plain phone recording, and I don't even have a good phone camera. Like, this is crazy to me. So in the Apocalypse of Elijah, which is apocryphal technically, it says that the Antichrist will have gray hair and be a baby, like an adult male head, but he's like a baby. So naturally, my first response, and I'm like a person where like I believe the Bible like wholeheartedly, okay? Like whatever God says, I take it as true, but I just didn't think that that fit the other themes of the Bible. So I thought maybe that Apocrypha was like not, you know what I mean? Well, I think I was wrong. I showed you the one Catholic guy, like he's like some kind of saint and he's holding a baby. That is that exact description. He has gray hair and he's a baby. And then it's literally on this book that I have about Marian apparitions. And then I remembered that I went to a Mycenaean museum in Athens, and this was like in smack in the middle of the exhibit, and it didn't have a plaque. It was the only one that didn't have a plaque. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, what is this? Because all of the things around it were like Apollo and like Venus and like the gods, you know what I mean? Like little g gods, of course. But I'm like, what is this? I've never seen anything like this. It all started rapidly coming together. I was reading this book my grandma gave me. It's like a vintage book about like random cool Bible facts. And it says, was Saul an infant king? A famous text where copying errors have crept in. 1 Samuel 13:1, the Hebrew literally reads, Saul was 1 year old when he became king, and he reigned 2 years over Israel. Since we know that Saul became king as an adult and that he reigned for more than 2 years, this indicates that at least 2 numbers were missed by an ancient copyist. So I go to scripture and I'm like, this can't be. And I use ESV for videos, but I also read like other versions. Saul lived for 1 year and then became king. So earlier today, literally right before all of these sky incidents, I was studying Isaiah. It says, tell the righteous that it shall be well with them, for they shall eat the fruit of their deeds. Woe to the wicked, it shall be ill with him. For what his hands have dealt out shall be done to him. My people, infants are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, your guides mislead you, and they have swallowed up the course of your paths. And the women part, I definitely think is the harlot, which would be his mom. So remember how we were talking about the Oracle of Delphi? And I went to the prophetess, and she conceived and bore a son. Then the Lord said to me, call his name, for before the boy knows how to cry my father or my mother, the wealth of Damascus and the spoil of Samaria will be carried away before the king of Assyria. Just to clarify, I know that some of these are like double meaning, but I'm just explaining why I'm thinking that this is very valid and like the typologies that exist. Woe to you, O land, when your king is a child and your princes feast in the morning. Remember the horse image from the museum? This is baby Hercules with Pegasus. And here's a real gem out of my Marian apparition book. During the war in Lebanon, Mary helped to reconcile the Muslims and Christians. So yeah, like I said, use discernment if this speaks to you and God confirms it. Yeah, I didn't edit any of those pictures, and that was outside of my house today, so let me know what you guys think.